Tonight, after the sun sets, you'll probably do something so ordinary you won't even notice it. You'll flip a switch. The room instantly fills with light, and life goes on as if nothing happened. But for nearly all of human history, that simple switch didn't exist. Once the sun disappeared below the horizon, darkness took over. Not the kind of darkness we experience today, the kind where you couldn't even see your own hand stretched out in front of your face. Drop something on the ground? Good luck finding it before sunrise. For more than 300,000 years, every one of your ancestors spent almost half of their lives in a world lit only by the moon, the stars, and whatever fire they could keep burning. No light bulbs, no flashlights, no street lamps, not even candles for most of that time. And definitely no staying up until 2 in the morning watching videos you'll barely remember the next day. So, what did people actually do after sunset? The answer is far more surprising than you might think. It reshapes the way we understand sleep, storytelling, and even the evolution of human civilization. And it all begins with one of humanity's greatest discoveries: fire. Most people think fire's greatest gift was warmth or protection, but its biggest contribution may have been something much more powerful. It gave humans more time. The earliest convincing evidence of controlled fire comes from Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, dating back around 1 million years. That discovery changed everything. Before humans mastered fire, they lived much like every other primate. As daylight faded, activity stopped. You climbed into a tree, found a protected spot, and hoped nothing found you before morning. Because wandering around after dark wasn't brave, it was usually fatal. Our ancestors had one major disadvantage: their predators could see perfectly well at night. Leopards, hyenas, wolves. The darkness worked for them, not for us. Then came fire, and suddenly the rules changed. A single campfire creates a protective circle roughly 30 feet across. Inside that warm glow, most predators keep their distance. Outside it, you're basically volunteering for the food chain. As harsh as that sounds, anthropologists studying modern hunter gatherer societies have found the same pattern today. People who leave the safety of the fire after dark face a much greater risk of predator attacks. Fire wasn't simply a source of heat, it created one of humanity's first safe spaces. But safety wasn't its only gift. Fire also did something no invention had ever done before: it stretched the day. Think about it. Without fire, the useful part of the day ended when the sun disappeared. In summer, that might be around 12 productive hours. In winter, sometimes only 8. Then humans learned to control fire. Suddenly, every day came with 2, 3, sometimes even 4 extra waking hours. It doesn't sound revolutionary until you realize those extra hours accumulated across thousands of generations. Those evenings slowly transformed what it meant to be human. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiessner published an extraordinary study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. She spent years recording conversations among the Jew/Hawansi people of the Kalahari Desert, whose traditional lifestyle closely resembles that of our distant ancestors. What she discovered was remarkable. During the daytime, conversations were overwhelmingly practical. Who was hunting? Which plants were ready to gather? Where should the group travel next? Who was doing what? Daytime conversation was about survival. You could almost call it the world's oldest staff meeting. But once darkness arrived and everyone gathered around the fire, the conversation completely changed. Over 80% of what people talked about became stories. Stories of distant places, ancient myths, remarkable adventures, family history, dreams, and of course, jokes that made the entire camp burst into laughter. According to Wiesner, these evenings around the fire weren't simply entertainment. They were where human culture truly began. The campfire became humanity's very first theater, its first classroom, its first place of worship, its first community gathering. Long before books, long before schools, long before the internet, knowledge spread from one generation to the next through stories told beneath the stars. Around those fires, humans learned to think beyond today's hunt. They imagined worlds that didn't yet exist, created myths, shared ideas, passed down wisdom, and perhaps for the very first time in history, they began using imagination as one of their greatest survival tools. In many ways, the modern world didn't begin in a city, it began around a fire.